Hey guys, and welcome to another PTR patch note from Blizzard. We have the third patch notes in a row now in the span of just about a month. Let's look at it. I just got told by my mods that this is here, so I don't know what we're going to expect. Alright, general. Reverted Tavern Revive cost 5% increase. Okay. I kind of like that change, so I don't care too much for its removal. Maybe they had bad feedback. To be honest, I don't know where they're getting most of their feedback because I don't imagine loads of people are playing the PTR. But if they're smart, they're checking the W3 Champions ladder, which emulated the patch changes on the actual live server in a custom map. So that's pretty cool. You can play it via W3 Champions without having to install the PTR. Anyway, let's go to the next. Orc reverted Headhunter lumber cost from 30 to 20. So now, just to be clear, after 3 changes to Headhunters, gold and lumber cost increase, removing the gold increase, and only keeping the lumber cost increase, we are now back to square one of how Headhunters were in the last year or so, but they're increasing build time. This is interesting because this actually directly addresses, I believe, the feedback for some of our Asian pro gamers who had been commenting on this. I saw some people talk about this, that Headhunters, it wasn't so much the cost, it was how fast they can be produced all the time. I think this feels most appropriate among all. They are so spammable, they are produced so fast. I think this is the best change yet to address Headhunter dominance a bit. Blademaster mirror image damage increased from 10 to 15. A little bit funny patch note because the actual process was 1 year ago, which I'll use as a baseline before Blizzard came back to do patches. Mirror images from Blade did 0%. Patch a month ago, 10%. Another patch to the PTR, 25%. Cue outrage from everyone. Maybe you've seen my YouTube video with the mirror image damage too. It was crazy. They're hitting like grunts. And now it's back down to 15 from 25. So it's not from 10 to 15, but from 25 to 15. I still think that's quite a lot. I feel like 10 was kind of a sweet spot, but this might be a lot better than 25. I still maintain that we have to consider that if images do deal damage, they should be treated as summons and give experience. There are few things more frustrating in RTSs where you've got economy of resources, you know, mana, experience, gold, time to kill, where you get things for free that give no experience when killed, but they do deal damage. In StarCraft, every free unit, like Infested Terran and Locust in StarCraft 2, don't give XP because they ain't no heroes, which should be fixed, I think. I think we should get Raynor and Artanis as heroes in SC2. But besides that, in Warcraft 3, there are very few cases of where something can hurt you, but doesn't give you XP. I believe there are 2 to 3 examples. Barracks with spiked barricades, or any building that's not burrow or watchtower, can hurt you when you hit it, but it doesn't give you XP. Okay, fair enough. And then there is the clockwork automaton goblins that come out of the Goblin Tinker factory, the spawns that explode. Whether you kill them or whether they explode, they don't give you any XP. So besides those, everything does. Feral spirits, water elementals do give experience when they die. And I wonder if mirror image should be the same if it is granted the utility of actual damage. But that's debatable. I know I'm kind of arguing the opposite point of view of what an orc propagandist might want, and I am an orc player mainly, but I wonder if it might not be too frustrating otherwise and unfair. But we'll see. Great Hall build time was reduced from 150 to 135. Now they're playing with a middle way, 140. And I think that might be the sweet spot. 15 might be a little too extreme, a 10% reduction. But this, a 7% build time reduction, I think you're going to notice it quite a lot. It's going to make it a little bit more viable without probably making it overpowered. So far I like this. Orc brute strength was taken from the lifetime of 100 bonus health to be 150, taking a grunt from 700 to 850. And now they're thinking, hey, maybe middle way here too. People didn't hate it. They wondered if it's too much. Let's do 125. I think that's fair. I think that could be quite nice. It's not going to be a very big noticeable change. And Knights, Griffins, and Dragonhawks actually received a bigger bonus 2 years ago of plus 50 HP, which was taken and borrowed from the Animal War training, which now only gave 100 instead of 150. So they took 50 from that and added it baseline. So it's not unprecedented to receive 50 extra. However, the final product of Knight, Griffin, Dragonhawk doesn't have plus 50. It's just the pre-Animal War training that does. So here the final product of the Grunt would have more health. And while Grunt is a very good unit, it can become obsolete sometimes against certain comps. And because Headhunters were better than Grunts, we preferred them in general. So now maybe with like the Headhunter and the Grunt change, we'll see more of a 50-50. Farseer, Feral Spirit, mana cost increase from 75-85. People analyzed that a large part of the Farseer Headhunter harass spam against human, which could be quite hard to deal with, was due to the quick production of Headhunter and the mass spam of Feral Spirits, which could take out peasants and constantly annoy you and annoy you and annoy you. I'm understanding this one, but I think Farseer will be... Oh, that's smart. I will say, though, you cast Feral Spirit 4 times as often as Chain Lightning. I think this is a nice compensation while dealing with the power of Feral Spirit harass, but there's other ways to fix this. You could also make Feral Spirit cooldown longer. So what that would achieve, effectively, right now, the duration of the Feral Spirit is double of the cooldown, which means that the moment the timed life of the Feral Spirit passes the halfway point, I can send them in in a cavalier fashion, very recklessly, because I'm able to resummon wolves in order to deny experience if they are threatened within an inch of their life. As such, the way that you could fix Feral Spirit spam and their longevity and their effectiveness and their repetitiveness of coming into your base, you could make the cooldown... No, not the cooldown. You could make the cooldown. Exactly. You could make the cooldown 5 seconds longer. And then you would have to pass the, 55, 58% mark of duration. So instead of like right in the middle, the duration would have to be... So basically what it would mean is that you have 5 seconds less of the remainder of the life of the Feral Spirits to use them while they're protected by the possibility of a resummon, if that makes sense. That would be one way that you could deal with it. If you would go with this route, which I'm not sure it's the right one, though I do get it, I believe Chain Lightning should be 105, potentially. Because, again, you cast Feral Spirit 4 times as often as Chain, so this is not adequate recompense, and it would just constitute a general nerf to the Farseer, which I don't think is merited, if you're already addressing Headhunters a little bit as well. If you do think Orc generally needs a nerf, this could be a way to do it, but it may just push us more towards the Blade Master again. In fact, with this, we're already going to be pushed more towards Blade Master than Farseer, so it may just make Farseer more and more useless. Besides this, if you were to keep this, though I think I've given reasons for why it shouldn't be exactly like this, maybe consider some changes to Farsight. I once theorized that every level of Farsight could give you 100 or 200 bonus active range of vision at all times, or only at night or something. That could be a way to make Farsight more useful, besides the reveal that you can do now and then. Or every level of Farsight could give you 100 bonus attack range, or 50, just 50, or 100. Could be like 50 at level 1, 150, and then 250. He's not an amazing auto attacker, so it's not like he's going to be like a busted damage god. But that could be a way to like tie in a little bit of Farsight value. And I'll predict, even if you add that, you're still barely going to see Farsight picks. But it may make him a bit more of an exciting level 8, 9, and 10 hero. Because right now Farseer is an early game hero, but you don't care about his level 7, 8, 9, 10. Because Earthquake sucks, Farsight sucks. So, maybe Farsight bonus attack range. Then human. Siege engine is fortify again. People weren't really too happy about siege engines. I included didn't think that siege engine in its new form was going to get used at all with heavy or medium armor and the ability to attack units. So they said, okay, we tried to come up with some cool ideas for siege engine, but people didn't really like it. It was probably not going to be that good. Let's just leave it what it is. If we have any other ideas later, maybe we come up with an idea again. But right now they're back to what they were. Animal trainings need Caso again, which I think is correct. Orc Fire is no longer 10 damage. But wasn't it 7 for a bit? Or is this down from 10? 10 is the PTR attempt. What is live server? 5 or 7? I'm not sure. But either way, 5 should be okay. Orc Fire cost reduced. It was 7, right? Yeah. So now you're actually going to be far more likely to get the Orb of Fire as a utility item. Keep in mind that it has a healing debuff on the opponent. This is really cheap for what it does, and losing 75 gold cost and 2 damage is such a good trade. It makes you less do meme spams of Orb of Fire on the Pit Lord or something like that, and sink money into like making your hero a Dota hero, and it's more the utility of anti-air and the anti-heal. I wonder, and keep in mind, Orb of Fire is most often used against Undead, which can be their most problematic matchup, and therefore this directly addresses Undead versus human matchup and kind of tries to even that out. And I would still love ways for human to be able to one base against Undead more. Orb of Fire might play a part in that. But there are many other considerations, like Peasant harassed by Unholy Aura, Death Knight, and Destroyers and stuff. But okay, I think I would actually like to try some human with this. Human versus Undead should be fun challenge. One base rifle caster, like Hawk used to play, or maybe still does. Rifle Priest, AM, MK Paladin, Staff of Sanctuary, Orb of Fire. It's not easy, but when well played, he really gave Happy a run for his money. So far I'm fairly positive about the changes, with of course my feedback given for point by point. Immolation is going to cost a little bit more mana again. If I'm not mistaken, it was 7 in the main lifespan of Warcraft 3. Then they attempted to drop it to 5, and now they're going the middle way of 6. Immolation damage. This one's a hard one. I believe immolation damage was 5, 10, 15 or 5, 10, 20. Then they tried, maybe it was 5, 10, 15. So they doubled it, 50% extra, 25% extra. Now they're going to go middle way again. So yeah, I'm not sure what the classical numbers were, but I believe they've gone the same approach as with many other things to middle way it. To middle way it. So yeah, let's see. I saw Moon's thoughts on immolation. He mentioned that this was dealing quite a lot of damage, but you're still gonna want to have mana burn to mana burn Blade Master to stop his mirror images. And then he pondered, can you play without mana burn? No, I don't think so. I still think you need to max mana burn, aka level 2 mana burn on a level 3 Demon Hunter. And then can you play without evasion? Well, is it worth giving up level 1 evasion for level 2 for level 1 immolation? Probably not. But no matter what, I think we might see some strategies that rely on economic warfare. For instance, this may help bring back Demon Hunter against human a little bit. Human and Night Elf, pretty much it's all Keeper or Warden right now. And Demon Hunter is not possible because they fast expand and Demon doesn't have enough grip against fast expo, nor can he defend his own expansion. And while immolation is extremely expensive mana-wise, therefore drains your Moonwells, if you do have a well-engineered rush strategy with Demon Hunter and immolation, you might just have the power needed to take down enough peasants or footmen at their expansion and just create a much faster paced double-edged sword kind of game where you go balls to the wall and try to do real big lasting damage. I think it was fun. I used to remember Suho from China used to play like that. Immolation rush into mana burn, so really skipping evasion a bit. You'll probably go with 1 point of immolation then 2 points in mana burn, and then points in evasion. So you just have one different ability at level 1 for the harass. Druid of the Crow, mana form cast reduced, so that's going to make it a lot better for them to dodge and snares, dodge damage, because there are invincibility frames. And it's going to make you more willing to scout and then use the Fairy Fire Mark of the Talon upgrade. It's going to make it easier and cheaper to go in the air, do anti-air stuff, and land again. And regardless of balance, in terms of gameplay and quality of life, I vastly prefer this transformation cast for the Talon. Again, I don't know if it's balanced, but as someone that would go mass talents for cycloning and Fairy Fire on the ground, it feels really bad to go up for any reason, because you know whatever goes up must come down, and that's 100 mana, and that's more than half a cyclone cast, and that's pretty painful. So I like this in terms of quality of life, and then let's see if they're going to be too strong or not and do other things about them. Does that make sense? Then Druid of the Claw starting mana reduced. This is great. This was an unwanted, random change by Blizzard without feedback from community. Nobody asked for this, and sadly there was not enough feedback process. I don't think this had any positive effect on the game. Druid of the Claw starting mana being 100 means they come out of the gate with Roar. If you have them Adept or Master upgrade, they come out of the gate with Roar and Rejuvenate. Or, yeah, Adept would be Rejuvenate, and at Master they come out with both, because it doubles their mana pool. So they can do a Roar, and then very soon after they can do a Rejuvenate. 125 meant that they have 250 out of the gate as a Master Druid, which means they could do double Rejuvenate, which, honestly, it felt really busted, because they couldn't do that before. Now, every time a bear comes out, it's double Rejuve. Yeah, back to 100. Most things have like 100, I think, when they come out, and they made an exception. I think that's a good change, and I think overall this looks pretty good. So they are clearly getting their feedback from YouTube videos and from Reddit, maybe even from Twitch chat, who knows. And I like it. I like the adjustments. They may have gone into it with very little experience and some wild ideas, but I think it's getting better. Lich Frost Nova damage reverted back. So they had done a 20 damage drop per level to the AoE. Oh. So this means it's still equally good at single target pickoffs, but there's going to be a damage cap like Carrion Swarm and Shockwave and Fire Breath from Panda already have. So to be clear, Thunderclap Mountain King, no cap. War Stomp TC, no cap. Carrion Swarm, yes. Fan of Knives, yes. Shockwave, yes. Nova, now also yes. 8 units. The way that Blizzard calculates these things is very complicated to me. So basically, some spells, they have like a unit cap. And then they have like an optimal unit cap. So for instance, you can hit up to 8, but anything over 5 does less than the promised damage, and then it spreads it among the other 8. Like, it's pretty complicated. I can't explain to you exactly how and what, so this would have to be tested. But if this goes through, this is pretty big. And the biggest impact it's going to have is on air, obviously, since air clumps together naturally if you don't micro it. So it's very easy to do like a Nova on 20, 30 Gargs. And they're all going to get slowed. They're all going to take damage. They're all going to have slower attack speed. This is most impactful on small air, like Talons, Gargoyles, Hippogriffs, and Hippo Riders. Well, Hippo Riders are big air, or medium big. Dragonhawks. And it's going to be less impactful on Frostworms. Obviously, it holds no sway on Fairy Dragons and on Destroyers, since they're magic immune. Chimera, you're never gonna have like 10 in one place. If you do, you're happy already. It most likely won't super affect Bat Riders and Wyverns. We try not to split, like to group up 10 in one place. If you take a Nova with 10 Wyverns, it's terrible. They're already squishy enough as it is. So I think this will probably have Flying Machine, Magic Immune. This will probably mostly have influence on ground units, like mass archers, heroes, summons, and bears together, headhunters from Orc, human armies if they dare to go rifle priests, which I don't know who still dares to do that against undead. Yeah, you would never hit 8 archers normally. Footman militia, yeah. Yeah, I guess I would say even 10 workers is very rare. Imagine getting Nova on 10 workers. I'll say, okay, I'll say peasants, footmen, militia, ghouls, gargoyles, and headhunters are most likely to be affected. And so this would be a nerf against human and orc mostly. Which sounds a little bit correct to me. And hippos? Yeah, but do we still see more than 6 hippos? Generally, no. I think this doesn't have a huge application in one-on-one hunts. Who goes 10 huntresses, seriously, against undead? You either already win or lose by the time you have 10 hunts. It's so all in, it's so bad. It's pretty niche nerf. I do? Yeah, only noobs do it. No offense. No, offense. Hunt spammer. Anyway, let's start with your cooldown increase. This feels correct. I think it is too frequent. Well, I'm not going to talk about FFA right now. I don't think like FFA matters for this discussion. It's about one-on-one pro games. This feels correct, nerf. I think it's way too spammy in denies of experience, and they get too much mana. It might be too much. I would probably expect this ends up at about 20. Kind of offended, even though it's true. Yeah, I know how you feel. I get offended every day in Dota 2 chat. And even if it's kind of true, you just gotta laugh it away. Haunted Goldmine build time reduced from 120 to 110. Was it raised from 100 to 110? I believe it was. So this would be an in-betweener. Circlet of Nobility functionality change reverted. It's just +2 to all again. Yeah, 100 to 120 to 110. Yeah. So they went for an in-between again. So the nuanced approach after trying big changes. I like it. Circlet of Nobility toggle functionality change. I guess the main issue I have so far with Undead in the last 2 patches, although it feels a little merited, the main issue is they don't get anything fun to play with. And you need to attract everyone with something fun and positive, even when you're doing justified nerfs, which is debatable. So, once again, I ask your help, Blizzard or whoever is doing these. Take a look at the Necromancer. My recommendation for Necromancer is to remove the skeletal longevity upgrade. Maybe it had been done already. And just embed it. Whatever it gives, the skeletal longevity for Necromancers, just embed it. And maybe cripple, drop it by like 20 mana cost. The tier 3 upgrade. Yeah, I'd say that would help already. Mainly the skeletal longevity I think is going to put in work. And then and the skeleton mastery upgrade, I would drop that by 25 as well, golden wood. If you do those 3 small changes, it's going to make it more worth it, not just to spam necros in a necro wagon strat, but also to go a couple of banshees and then add 1 necromancer to summon skeletons and scout with them or harass with them. Because normally that's not worth it, because skeletal longevity's absence means that you cannot make 1 necro and summon 2 skeletons from the graveyard and have those matter, because they won't reach the opposite side of the map on time. And you're not going to get 1 necro and then get an upgrade in order to justify the skeleton summoning, the skeletal longevity. Even though it finishes really fast, it's 100 resources. Longevity has been gone for long now. Oh, it's inside mages. Ah, yeah. I gave that recommendation before to remove longevity a long time ago, or actually multiple times in patches, but they added it to Skeletal Mastery. And I think that's an issue, because Skeletal Mastery costs like 375. So I think you should take it out of skeletal mastery, drop mastery cost, and embed longevity baseline. Just have skeletons last longer. What's the worst thing that could happen? All of us are going to get overrun by skeletons? Okay. Welcome to the bone zone. 1 of mana steel, reduced from 75 to 65. That's an in-betweener. I think that's good. It was 50. I think 75 is too much. I believe 60 is better than 65, if I'm going to be honest with you here. So that seems okay. Additional zoom levels, okay. Can now view other players. Oh, I have a request if it's possible. Blizzard, if you're listening. Allow us a toggle in the options to completely disable the ability to zoom. Not just improved zoom, just have a button that says no zooming at all. Because it's kind of annoying sometimes that you zoom by accident. Can now view other players' profiles. Fixed an issue where... Yo, thanks for the sub, Gronk.
I just got here and did you just say welcome to the Bone Zone? Am I in the right stream?
That's my nickname in Dota now. It's an emote that I love. It's a dancing skeleton. This one. If there's any other meanings or origins, I'm actually not familiar with it. I just like the emote. That's it. And fixed a bunch of issues. They still need to fix the ladder list, which has a bunch of weird results and scores. But yeah, this looks overall pretty good. I'm positive about the direction it's going, and I'm hopeful for the continuity of further changes. Thanks, Blizzard, and thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts.